Okay guys, I got a video request, or not a video request, more like a question from a Juan Bernal, who asked me a question on a particular video about which tuner I use for my violin, because I did a unboxing and testing of this Cecilio electric violin. I am going to show you guys the tuner that I use and how to tune this particular violin. So anyway, there's lots of different tuners. I'll tell you why that's upside down in a moment. There's lots of different tuners out on the market, and there's a particular lady who teaches violin on YouTube, and I forget the name of her channel, but I will post the link to that video in the description below, and she will show you and talk to you about the different tuners that are out there. And in my personal opinion, tuning forks are like the best tuners you can get, but the problem is that you have to have a really good ear to use it. And that's why I use this, the app, because unlike a electronic tuning tool where you have to clamp it onto some piece of the violin here, you just clamp it on the key or the neck or somewhere, and it picks up the vibrations. And I'll find a cheap electronic tuning tool online and post a picture of it on the video. But the reason why I don't like those things is because they're so darn sensitive, the cheap ones, where they're sensitive and they don't have very good processing power. So when you play the note, it'll take like a fraction of a second before it goes, oh, you're playing that note, and then it'll show you like where along that note you're good, if you're like too sharp or too flat or whatnot. And the problem with that is that it's so delayed, like a half second after you play the note, that's when the bar goes back down. And I don't like those because of that reason. Now, there are some good electronic tuning tools that you just clamp onto the neck piece or the keys or whatever, and they work really well and they're really reactive, but they cost at least $40. And if you're just starting out with violin, or you don't know if you like it and you're just a really newbie kind of person, which is no problem, then you kind of want to steer away from the really cheap devices that hook onto your violin and use vibration. Yes, they will work, but in my experience and education on those things, they're not always 100% accurate, and you have to have patience because they do have that delay where you play a note and then it'll go up, and then after a note is completely quiet, then it'll go back down. So it's got that delay, and I don't like it for that reason. But I do like tuning forks because they're perfect, like absolutely perfect. There's no delay, and it's on perfect key every time you use it, unless you really damage the tuning fork. But the problem with that is that you have to have a really good ear, and I don't. Which is why I like this. This is my favorite tuner, which is a smartphone app. And all this is a free smartphone app. And if I can find a picture of the app, I will post that on the video as well. But this is called G Tuner, and it's free, and you can find it if you type in guitar tuner or violin tuner or whatnot. And you've got these settings right here where you can choose the instrument, and you've got a whole bunch of, well, not a whole bunch, but a whole bunch of options, not a whole bunch of instruments. This has an option on here that says auto, and you can make it go to manual. And all manual will do is make it so that you have to manually slide them over to pick what you want to tune to. But if you go with auto, then it'll automatically adjust, as you can see. So that's a quick demonstration. And all the choir singers are just covering their ears in pain. When you're using this to tune, you'll these two white dots here. I'm looking at the screen and not the phone to make sure I'm aligned. there's that white dot there and that white dot there. You want to keep the needle in those white dots because that's considered acceptable tuning. If you're outside, you're too sharp. If you're outside to the left, you're too flat, as far as I understand. And so you want to keep the needle tip there within the two dots, and that'll be acceptable. If you can get the needle right on that white line, that's perfectly tuned right there. And it's pretty easy to do if you have fine tuners. As I said, I'll get to the point of why I have it upside down. The reason why I have it upside down is because that little white dot there is the microphone. And unlike my Samsung Galaxy S5, the camera I'm recording on now, this phone, I don't think, nope, it does not have any microphone on the top. I wonder if I can tap on it. Ah, there we go. Ha ha ha. So anyways, yeah, there's no microphone at the top, unlike what my Galaxy S5 has. But anyways, the tuning app always uses the microphone at the bottom anyway. So that's because the microphone is at the bottom, that's why I have it. There we go. That's why I have it upside down like that, pointed at my amp. See if I can get it propped up. That way it'll be pointed at my amp, which the electric violin is plugged into, so the sound goes directly into the microphone. So anyways, to the part where I teach you how to tune now. So you can use it, this way is not advised because it's generally not a good idea to touch your strings. Like here is just fine, but you don't really want to touch your strings here. So this is like the really cheap, fast way to do it. But it's better just to use your bow because that's better on the strings and it'll train your ear to know what to look for. I'll tighten up my bow real quick, just a sec. So there's a big difference between this and this. So that's why you want to use a bow, because you can hear the smoothness, and eventually when you've been tuning so many times with your bow, you'll be able to know when your violin is out of tune just by playing it. But also by that time you'll probably be able to just like plug it with your finger and you'll be just fine, but you should just practice tuning with your bow anyway. And I will post a video in the description of a lady who has years of experience with violin and piano, and she'll teach you how to tune your violin and what kind of tuners you can buy and stuff like that. So anyways, on to the tuning. You can start with any string that you want, literally. If you want to start with A or D or E, like literally any string, if you want to go in order, one way or another, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to start with G. I'm a little bit too high. So since I'm so close to being of good tune, we're not going to touch the tuning pegs. We're going to touch the fine tuners. And of course, the one directly behind the G string is for the G. So I'm going to turn it a half turn. Too low. Just a little bit. So I'm going to turn it about a third to a half turn up. And I'm in acceptable range. I'm going to turn it about an eighth of a turn counterclockwise to get it lower. Pretty much perfect, yeah. So onto the D string. And I'm in acceptable range, but I'm a little bit too high. So I'm going to turn it about an eighth of a turn counterclockwise. And I'm pretty much perfect, but I'm going to turn it about a 16th of a turn counterclockwise. And there we go, just about perfect. So now, I'm pretty sure you've got the general gist of this. So I'm just going to tune the other two strings in fast forward. Okay, there we go. It's all tuned up now. And that's literally as easy as it is. The videos I post in the description, she'll teach you how to tune your violin. She's also got another setup video where she teaches you how to set up the video and make sure the strings are proper tightness. But anyways, yeah, beginners should absolutely have a violin with fine tuners. Fine tuners are these little dials here. And that makes it so much easier, 10 times at least easier, to tune your violin rather than just having tuning pegs tune your violin. That's much more difficult. So yeah, that's how to tune your violin with the phone app, and it's the G Strings free app. I don't know if it's available on iPhone or Apple products, but I know it's available on Android. That's all I have. I'm sure you can find other electronic tuners online, but I highly suggest beginners use the electronic tuners. If you don't have a smartphone, then get a electronic tuner, and don't go with the cheapest one. Try to go with like the second or third cheapest one, because the absolute cheapest one is going to be kind of crap. It's going to have delayed response and probably not very good battery life, so kind of splurge a little bit with the electronic tuner if you're a beginner, and go with the second or third cheapest one. So anyways, yeah, do that if you don't have a smartphone. So if you have any questions, then go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you have any suggestions of videos that you'd like to see, I'm totally open to it. As you can see on my channel, I make a whole bunch of different videos. I'm not just violin guy. And I will talk to you guys later.